Hello everyone. So here is Moonlight Soul in my new hound and Marissa from Growing the Flow, and this is Stars and Cards episode 44 for December. Can you believe it? December, the last month of the year, and 44. This is quite a special number over here. So hello Marissa, it's nice to be on the same part of the planet as you are.
Yes, same here. It's kind of crazy to only be an hour apart in time. So welcome back to the northern side of the northern hemisphere you've been, but on this side of the pond anyway. Yeah, pretty cool. So we finish with an angel number 44 episode, really amplifying these energies of everything that's been being taken down and built upon this 9 year in order to launch into the new beginning of the one in 2026, just on the other side of this last month.
Exactly. It's just so wild. Like this year, it feels like it's gone so quick, but at the same time, it seems like so much happened in it. So it feels like multiple years condensed in 1 year.
Yes, I was gonna say it feels like many years have taken place in this 1 year, which is pretty crazy. And it's always that weird, like, I can't believe it's the end of the year, but also it feels like it was a lifetime ago that we ushered in the new year and talked about our intentions and everything that we thought we would be bringing in this year. So it's a good time for us to kind of reflect on that here. We've been talking about the nostalgic vibe that we've been tapping into. And just then with that kind of building up into as we finish out the month of December and close out the calendar year, what that might be looking like too, with what's coming up in the cards and the stars.
Exactly. And I mean, this week as we're recording this, Mercury is just about to station direct. Saturn is going to station direct. Then we have the Neptune station in direct at the beginning of December. So slowly but surely, the planets are going to station direct and go forward with this new expression that we gained throughout the retrograde, and also the planets, the Saturn, Neptune, Uranus in the new signs will be returning to these signs next year. So it's going to be 2026 is going to be huge. Huge year. So, this is literally like us just like making sure that we tying up the loose ends on the year number 9 before we launch fully into the 10 and see what the Wheel of Fortune brings for us on the new journey, on the new path of manifestation.
Yeah, magician energy coming in. So, yeah, let's get right to it since we have all of this to unpack. I'm going to flip over our cards that we've had here, starting with our Queen of the Moon energy. So, let's see what
Oh, wow.
forward. Purity. So, wow. I feel like whenever this card comes up, this is number 30. So creation coming in with that number 3 because we can't quite see yet, but it has that white slate energy, right? This clear palette that we'll start from in terms of what we are creating in the next year. So purity comes up to speak to the lunations of December. So we have full moon in Gemini,
That's correct.
new moon in Sagittarius,
That's
right?
correct. Yes.
Okay. So,
Now, this
purity.
is perfect because as I just had a brief look at the transits for December, and we have crazy amount of squares, and they are all closing squares, which is the crisis in consciousness. So, what are we releasing in this final quarter of the astrological year? Because we know obviously we're nearing the end of Gregorian year, but also with the full moon in Gemini, that's going to be in a perfect square with the lunar nodes. So we have all these timelines available to us. We know that the new moon in Gemini, I believe, was the first moon or the first moon or last moon with Saturn in Aries, something like that. I would have to check. I didn't record my video yet. But in any case, it offers these different options and choices coming towards the end of the Gregorian year and soon to be nearing the end of astrological year in springtime. Like, where do you want to go with these new energies? We already had Saturn in Aries, Neptune in Aries, Uranus in Gemini briefly, but we already got a taste of, there is new energy available, and where do we want to go from here? So with this full moon in Gemini, things are becoming illuminated to us, and under the pressure of all these squares, especially the full moon itself being in this grand mutable cross, we have options. Yeah, like and it doesn't matter what choice we're gonna take, there's gonna be things we like and things we don't like so much about the choice because we live in this world of polarity at the moment. And then yes, with the new moon in Sagittarius later on in December on that 28 degree, that will be all about the story that is then gonna be woven through that choice that we are going to be potentially looking for to make in these energies of the upcoming full moon in Gemini, which will be taking place on December 4th.
Mm. Yeah, it's always striking to me when we're talking about the choices and the options available, but yet there's a shroud over the eye from being able to see in the traditional sense of physically seeing, and yet perhaps again, as the year of the hermit has reminded us infinitely, go within, right? Go within to your own inner light and then envision how you wish to paint that canvas or to create, or what new choices do you wish to make in order to create something new or different. Um, this is the card for the snow moon, and I was just thinking, I think it's the cold moon that we have coming up. Where but it's actually speaking to a moon that I know is coming in, if not, somewhere in this realm of things, because it's speaking to that, which I think too is sort of like water and then frozen water in the sense of like the suspension of emotion and all the feels, but the idea of it sort of being condensed into a snowflake. It's just kind of tapping into the symbols that are showing up here to really talk about these choices and talk about the process that we might be best served in taking when contemplating those choices, and then inevitably taking action as we move into the new. So um, sounds like, these moons will definitely be bringing forward the opportunity of illuminating those choices, perhaps peeling back that veil a bit to see a little more clearly things that we have always seen a particular way or thought that we saw all there was to see. And actually, there's something more to be revealed or illuminated, or perhaps the other side of something in that Gemini energy. That then, as we move into that Sagittarian new moon, is there something new then that we wish to initiate through that process as we move into 2026?
Yeah, and I feel because we are in Sagittarius season now, which is all fiery, and this is a mutable energy, so things are moving very quickly, they're changing very quickly. So that's why I feel even with this card, and like you said, that the eyes don't see, they don't see because we have to go by, and I mean, Jupiter is the ruler, of course, of Sagittarius, is retrograde and it's in Cancer. So it's all about how does it feel, So with the fire, like, does it give you a passion, the desire, or what's going on here? And that's very connected to this Leo as in opposition to Aquarius, being in the age of Aquarius, and connected to Leo, to the heart, to how do we want to express ourselves authentically and stuff. So I feel this is how the new choices will be made. Just like you said, it's not going to be made through the logical mind. The eyes are closed. We don't know where we're going. This card kind of like a two of swords. Where are we going? And I know that's the card that came up for you for I think it's Friday, right? At the end of the week. So there are choices to be made, but they're not going to be made in the same way. I mean, Mercury is still retrograde as we recording this for now. And Mercury is gone from Sagittarius to Scorpio, so into the depths of Scorpio, even though we out of Scorpio season technically at the moment, or right now when we're recording this, but we still integrating the after effects of Scorpio season, of Scorpio new moon. And there's been a lot. There's been a lot that's been present with all the watery energy at the time, which we are still, like learning to understand, like what exactly was all of that about. So just like this card, it's like blank canvas. You don't have to project the past into the future. It's up to you. And don't allow your mind, which is the archive of the past, to make the decisions because it's copy paste, copy paste, copy paste. So yeah, we have the opportunity to create a different timeline, to choose something different based on how it feels, how we are being guided, not through the mind, but through the higher mind and in the intuition.
Yeah. And I think to your point there about all the things that were drudged up and brought up and the layers that were slothed off throughout Scorpio season, the mantra for this card I just checked is I know why I do what I do. I know why I do what I do. And it's kind of like, as all this stuff was brought up and we're sort of processing it and moving through, clearing it and expressing it, all the things, it's bringing in a new awareness and a new understanding about perhaps all the things that were behind why we made the choices we made, or why it is that we do or be a certain way,
Mm.
that perhaps the white and the purity and the feeling of this is about inviting us to kind of see it with fresh eyes and with renewed compassion and softness, for holding space for why I do what I do, why I've done what I've done. Because now we're at this point where we can make new choices and we can take new steps. And I always think of this one as like the freshly fallen snow. And when you
Mhm.
first see that whole canvas that you can step into for the first time, and put new impressions on it. So it's just really, I think, bringing up that energy of the promise of the new beginning and the clean slate, but you step out onto that field with all the awarenesses and all of the wisdom and the experiences that have brought forward this knowingness of why it is that all of that served, and maybe why you made those choices, and now stepping into something new. So
Absolutely. And then
yeah,
heading towards Capricorn season, which is the cardinal sign, I guess perhaps hopefully we'll have a better idea about what do we want to put into form.
another piece of the puzzle. All right, let's take a look. We did the psychic tarot for the heart. So we're going to start with the beginning of the month. So we didn't see these yet. Let's see. Okay. So beginning of December, opportunity beckons. We step in with the Four of Cups, which is interesting because it also brings a suggestion of certain things that we may not be seeing,
Mhm.
right? In terms of something that could be right there, as big as this, planet or something that we didn't see before, that now we're seeing with fresh eyes. So, should I pull them all up and then we'll get into each card? I think
Yeah,
that's
let's
what.
do that. Yeah.
Okay, so now we'll do middle of the month.
Oh,
Ooh,
wow.
nice. So that's Judgment Blossom coming in here with, you can see that lighting up right away. And then we finish it out, of course, a 7. There we go with that number, awaiting results. So again, hurry up to slow down to all of it with that card of patience. All right. So we've got water, we have judgment, which is uh what planet is with judgment? What I'm trying to think what element
The
I
way
was.
I learned it was like a Pluto, like
Yeah,
transformation.
okay. So we've got transformation, and then we have Earth. I was trying to think of what element is associated with the Judgment
Oh,
card, but
judgment. Yeah.
yeah. But anyway, wow. So major arcana in the middle, water and earth here. Okay. So yeah, Four of Cups, that sense of, you might feel a little bit like meh about things, or it has that sense of sort of like apathy or tuning out in some way, or just kind of really focusing your energy into something that's kind of stagnated. And yet there's a whole universe of opportunity right there in front of you, where again, if we just remove, and it is very Two of Swords, as to your point, we got the Two of Swords here as the final tarot energy that came up in our collective reading for this week to close out November. So as we step into December, we have choice. We have opportunity to see things in a way that maybe is coming from feeling rather limited to expanding that view. So then we see that coming in with the opportunity beckons for a new perspective, fresh eyes, expansion coming in with that energy.
Yeah, and it's interesting because as soon as, this card came up, I thought that that looks like Labradorite. The
Yeah.
ball, it looks like Labradorite to me, which is my favorite crystals. And we know what Labradorite is a protection stone, but it's like, it's kind of like connected to like witchery and stuff, like it's like your third eye and your throat chakra and stuff. So anyway, so with the Four of Cups, what's coming to me is like like in a traditional tarot, like there is that hand offering the cup and the person is like not interested. So it's like we might not necessarily see the things that are being offered to it as an opportunity, or it might not be the right opportunity, who knows? But at the end of the day, it's the cups. So it's like, again, how does it feel? And yeah, it might first need to bring up the things that don't feel so good in order to get. So this is the thing, sometimes we are being offered things from the universe, and we are like, I don't want this. Like, why are you giving me this? This is not what I want. But we don't see how this is a stepping stone, or how this, with the four as the structure, the four pillars of the house, right? Like how this is actually helping to get us exactly where we need to go. So this is how I tie it up to the middle card, which is the judgment. And I always see the judgment card, especially because the depiction in the Rider-Waite, that is the call to action. Come out of the sleep state of your coffin, right? Because, we've been walking asleep over here, driving asleep behind the wheel. So like, it's like the call to action, like wake up. So with the whatever is going to happen, transpire at the beginning of December might not necessarily be something that is like, I didn't ask for this. This is not my wish fulfill. But we might not see at that time how this is actually exactly what's needed to create the momentum to guide you to that middle of the month, which is in between the lunation, by the way, after the full moon in Gemini and before the new moon in Sagittarius, to help us maybe have a realization, like there is a lot of fire, so it could like force us to get moving, to get something creating, like suddenly we gone from I'm bored, I don't know what I'm doing, my back is turned, to she's playing this massive fire. So it's like, okay, so obviously something must happen in these first 2 weeks of December that's gonna give you the, I don't want to say ammunition because it's a triggering word, but the fire, like, I want to go, I want to create something, there is something I want to do, whatever that is.
Yeah, the passion, the fuel, the passion. I feel like it's the 12-12 gateway. I feel like it's the energy. I mean, there's a lot of, we were just saying, there's so much coming in December energetically with light codes and like things just coming online, that's really what this feels like, answering that call for sure. And when you were saying that, I was thinking of it like that phrase of like, you don't look a gift horse in the mouth or face or something, but it's like, not to reject a gift because of how it's wrapped, right? So and I was thinking like this week with Saturn stationing direct, and it's like, what's the gift? What's the gift that's going to have been left behind from all of this tough love teaching and lessons that I've been learning and moving through this whole time that I might be feeling kind of about? That gift that's there, not to reject it just because of how it's wrapped, that it doesn't look the way that you thought it would. And this is really an extension of what we were tapping into in our personal conversation, is like, and I think it ties into this too. Like it feels like it's really all connected in this awakening, is then how we see our circumstances goes from this to this, which is also patience and asking you to like look back and see what ground you've already covered and how much is actually going on beneath the surface. There is a lot of growth here from the base coming up, but we're awaiting results. Where's my fruit? Where's the apples? Where's the harvest for all these things that I've been waiting for? But it is in there, and it's already. In fact, I think she does have a fruit over her heart. There's this sense of like this act of being and moving in the world and doing, the things is the gift. And when we are able to shift our perspective on how we see it, then all of a sudden it's like, oh my gosh, I have this giant ball of potential in my hands that I never realized thought it was just an apple, but it's actually like this big, beautiful bloom that's coming forward, that I have the power in my hands to make whatever my heart desires to create. And there's this, yeah, like this awakening, lighting up, illuminating through this process of allowing yourself to receive the gift, to answer that. And then through that awakening, I think there's going to start to really be some growth that's coming in here. And we see here, I think she has a full moon behind her as far as I'm seeing it. So it's sort of like, obviously this moves then into the new year, and, what's coming in on the other side. But this new moon that we talked about in Sagittarius, again, seed planting and intentions as we move into the new year coming in.
Yeah, and then full moon in Cancer, and then in January, new moon in Capricorn towards the end of Capricorn season, which will be shortly before we enter into the fire horse here, right? That's gonna be sometime at the end of January. So it's interesting because I always get because of how the colors work in the psychic tarot and psychic tarot for the heart, I always think like, oh, it's red, or the green should be the water or something. So again, you're always like a little bit confused, with the red, you would think it's wands, right? Because red, like fire,
Fire.
here is
Yeah.
the earth. So that's why I'm thinking like, with the fire horse, and I know you brought it up in our personal conversation, the year of the fire horse, and we know that fire is all about creation and how horse is about the freedom. So with regards to this final card, especially as it's then transiting us into the Capricorn season, and we know, Pentacles are slow, Capricorn slow, blah blah blah, it's Earth. But I don't think things are going to be very slow next year, to be very honest, because all the planets are moving into masculine sun, Saturn is going back into Aries, Neptune back into Aries. We have this Uranus in Gemini as of end of April. Even Jupiter is going to go into Leo. The nodes are going to go into Leo and Aquarius. So it's only Chiron that's going to be in Taurus, holding the foundation, that the foundation is within you, like Taurus, your foundation. So this is what I'm feeling, looking at these three cards and the purity that obviously precedes that's about like this month, which is the last month of this Gregorian year, right? Based on the calendar we use in most of part of the world. We have the opportunity to like start from the scratch. 2026, the year of reset, right? The 10, the 0, the 1, the magician and the fool. And this year is really going to show you that, okay, everything that happened in your life, particularly in this year, which I'm sure has been quite a year for everyone. I don't think you and I are exceptions. I think everybody's gone through stuff. So we can look at it and look at it like, oh shit, why things happened to me? Why did I had to go through this? Why somebody else had it easier? Why somebody else is already living 5D experience? Why me, right? Or we can look at it exactly like what we said that, okay, yeah, it wasn't pleasant. I'm still in the midst of it, but I'm not where I was 100% and I'm building towards something different, right? So then with the, judgment, as we already said, it's like kind of like the other card in the other deck, I think, the passionately ignited, I think is like an ace of wands card, right? The passion reignited. It kind of reminds me of that similar depiction. So yes, something is gonna get stirred up. I mean, in a Sagittarius season, things are moving quickly, right? We're not holding on to anything, good or bad, doesn't matter. And then we enter into the Seven of Pentacles energy, which is an investment for the future, which is something that is already growing within you. It's been here all along. But there is no final manifestation because it just keeps going, doesn't it? But I really feel that which you are investing in a bank of universe, just like you and I were talking, okay, I've been waiting all my life, for this, to be married, to have this experience with this person, blah, 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 whatever. It won't have to be that long. Going forward in the age of Aquarius, you don't have to wait 20 years, okay? You don't worry, it's gonna happen quick. So that's what I'm thinking, that even though the red represents Pentacles, in this particular deck, I still associate it in this particular reading with the fire horse. There are so many things that's gonna happen next year, you won't have to wait long, trust me. So just, don't worry, it's coming and it's coming quick. So just get your ducks in a row and focus on what you want.
Yeah, I totally feel that. Yeah, that's why I was like, oh, okay, the Seven of Pentacles for the end of the month, because I would have thought that. But I think what it is that actually we begin to see the growth that previously it's been under there all along, but we can see it, it's shown here, but we know we're looking inside. So it does feel like this comes into our awareness, and it kind of was feeling like, like if you have a plant that is sitting in a particular space and it's just not thriving, that you move it just to a new location or something just changes and now it's in the sun and all of a sudden it just takes off, like it just starts growing like crazy because it finally has shifted into conditions that are conducive for that growth. It wasn't time before that because there were experiences to be had, there was, things to be processed, to be released, to be integrated, and all that's been taking place all year while we may have been like this and we may be looking back feeling frustrated on the surface. All of that was serving all along and creating those ideal conditions for that growth to take off. It just, in a 9 year, it isn't time yet. And so when we're in flow and we're in the rhythms of what's happening on the planet and in the cosmos, then I feel that is when it really starts moving to where we might be like, whoa, horsey, slow down, because it's like really moving then. So it'll be interesting to see that switch, which is happening like mid-February is the new year. But those energies are already like we're already starting to talk about it, in terms of that this was the year of the wood snake and the skins being shed and all of this transformation that's been undergoing, which has been a much more slow and sometimes, uncomfortable and like experience of, outgrowing something that now it's like wild horses, like
Hmm.
on the move. So it'll be exciting and active. Definitely there's going to be growth for sure. So we definitely see that being confirmed here at the mid to end of December, showing that it's going to be taking off from there.
Yeah, and we have mid-February. That's when we have Saturn moving back into Aries on Valentine's Day, and we're gonna have the full moon in Leo sometimes at the beginning of February. So there's a lot of fiery energy again, despite the fact that I mean it's Aquarius season. And yeah, that's coming into the Aquarian energy, which is all about the breaking of the pattern and moving towards the completion and then the reset, like recycling, reinvention, like
Yeah.
the new astrological year. So that's why I feel like, it's just, and I know that you can resonate and probably many people, it's just so difficult to keep a track on time, like where are we? Like I was just talking to someone the other day about this, and the person said that they are very, very aware. Oh, which day is my appointment? Is it tomorrow with someone, or am I meeting this person, or I have a meeting, or whatever? But if you ask that person, what day is it? What month is it? They would say like, I have no clue. So it's like it's interesting that with regards to connecting with others we are very aware, but like, I mean, maybe people are also aware about the days and months of the year. But that's why I feel like we already tapping into energies for like January, February, spring next time, then coming back to November, coming back to, December, whatever. The linearity of the time is becoming very vague, very vague. So that's why even in this reading, like, there is no set timelines for anything. Everything is up for grabbing right here, right now. But I feel, especially now with the Sag, which kind of to me, like somehow Sag and the fire horse sign out somehow correlates together, like Sagittarius is very like a we feisty quickly, moving. And the horse, to me is very similar energy. So yeah, that's where I feel that somehow we are bridging the timelines between before we culminate the year and when we actually start in the new lunar year, right? So there are a lot of things that's going to shift very quickly in these upcoming 2, 3 months. And then, like, like I already said, I'm repeating myself, the things that you are hoping and wishing for will be here before you know it. So just, like with the Seven of Pentacles, your investments are coming. They come in. Just, you're almost there. Just hold on.
Hold your horses.
Hold your horses. Exactly. That's a good one. That's a good one.
Let's pull our Sacred Destiny card because there's a lot happening here, and my daughter actually just returned from college, and my dog is very excited. So we might hear some of that enthusiasm as we tune in for our Sacred Destiny card pull to cap off our readings for 2025 from Stars and Cards. This is the final card being pulled for the year.
Well, no pressure, Marisa. Make it to be a good one.
Yeah, oof, no pressure. Okay, we're setting some intention here. Sacred Destiny. Where to from here? A message for us. There we go. Oh, action.
Oh, excellent. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. And it's on the horizon. You see that, whether that's a sunset, a sunrise, there's an energy of what's coming in on the horizon. And we see the waters and of course the tides rising, falling. And this again speaks to me in terms of impermanence, things that we were tapping into today before we came in here is like that ebbing and flowing and what's coming in, what's left behind, what goes out. And so it's all through, and I think inspired action too is like when we tap into this energy of what lights us up and what, really makes our hearts sing. And the more that we take our inspired action through that, the more potential is on the horizon for us to be in greater alignment, greatest alignment in any given moment with our most authentic self.
It's interesting that we have this like you know, like this water energy, and then we have this like something that looks very fiery energy, and then we have the earth energy, which is again like very subtle, you know, like okay, slow down. And then we have this last card, which is again very to me connected to the second card, to the judgment card, where all of these things, you know, it's kind of like all the elements are present in order to create the perfect weather conditions for the right action to be taken. But there's no such a thing as right. It's just what's right for you. And that's, you know, for everybody to decide with the purity.
Yeah. And it's just the conditions coming together for aligning in a way that serves, I guess, not right or wrong, but just creating those ideal conditions in a moment. And it's interesting that you said that because this card is called Action and the theme is storm clouds gathering, which is interesting, because it's like everything's gathering together, all the elements coming together in just such a way that's the perfect storm. And yet the storm serves. We might be at the beach and not pleased to have storm clouds overhead because it ruins our perfect beach day. But actually, the storm serves and is necessary and, provides for continuation of being able to have those other moments that we prefer. So, um, yeah, she's talking about, that feeling when you're just before a storm and feeling energized and alive and maybe even a little high. So it's like that buzzing that we feel when we know. And I think the same is true with snow. Whenever you've been in a snowstorm, it has this feeling, this hush, like the way that it sounds outside when there's been like a snowfall. It changes the conditions and the way that you feel that energy, and it's like palpable. And so it's speaking to the energy in the atmosphere building and then your body being able to feel it, and that storms are necessary to replenish and refresh the land, and they can feel disruptive and dangerous. They can cause damage for sure, but without storms, the planet wouldn't be renewed and replenished, which is, what we were just saying. So when you understand the deeper energy of the storms, then you can embrace that energy with your body and your life, and then you're always poised to take action when it's called for. Yeah, this feels very in alignment with what we were saying because it's like once we identify anything as the gift or anything as the right conditions in this moment, and we know that this storm too shall pass and the rainbow, the sun will rise again, then we're able to be more in flow with that energy. And what the sacred landscape wants us to know here is a shift is coming. The time is now. Don't hesitate. Face your fear. Do it anyway. When big change is on the horizon, it's time to take action. Of course, there are times to deliberate and carefully consider your next step, but not now. Now is the time to take immediate action. Look forward with a calm, steely gaze, and then forge ahead with clarity, determination, power, and grace. Quicken your spirit by making decisions now. Even if you're not 100% certain of your decision, right now it's better to make any choice than none at all. Hmm. I feel like that's how she's poised, standing there sort of with that gaze, sort of looking on upon all that has come to pass, but then make that choice, make that decision, and take an inspired action. And then it sets everything into motion on the other side.
Yeah, and then after the storm, there is the calmness of the purity again.
Yeah. And again, it's cyclical, right? There is no final ultimate choice. It's just waves and phases and seasons and chapters that we move through, and we know that on the other side a new one will begin. So let's be here now in this chapter with all of the wisdom and the insight of everything that came to pass in the prior chapters of this book of humanity, but not rushing ahead to the last page, because all in due time it all unfolds. And actually the whole time, whether we realize it or not, or we're head down, we're co-creating, we're co-writing this story. So do so from perhaps more of that seat of conscious choice, of conscious awareness of your role in facilitating that story. And then I felt that went on to say, enter in the year of the fire horse, because then it starts to take off from there.
Hmm. Yeah, that's why I don't feel that we're gonna have much of a time to feel bored.
No,
Like Four of
no,
Cups,
I wish you were
no,
bored.
I don't think so. I don't think so. That was, we had plenty of the introspection time now in the year of Hermit, but like next year, I don't think so. So yeah, there will be time to take an action. And yeah, it's just like, to me, like the last card is also like very like the Fool energy, like you don't know where you're going, but you can't stay here. So you just have to go, and you just have to figure it out as you go. And also, there's actually the interesting thing that obviously now being in Sag season, everything passing through Sagittarius is squaring the lunar nodes, including the full moon, and from the position of the Sagittarius, it's pointing to the South node in Virgo, which is the adjustments. Like, okay, you learned, and now you have to put in practice. You cannot just keep learning all the time. You have to put in practice because otherwise, what's the point having all this information in your head? So that's what I feel, and also the rest of the squares will be from Sagittarius to Saturn and Neptune, which again, like we already said, is the closing square, apart from Sun. Sun is special, but all the other planets is a closing square, which is saying about, well, what do you need to release? What do you need to release to make space for this new story, for this new chapter to unfold, knowing that this is not the final destination, but is the next step of the journey. So, like what do you want in it when you are the one writing it? So, what actions do we have to take in order to get there, even though the one action is not going to take you to the final place? It's just one step at a time.
Yeah, just into the next chapter, into the next stage or season of being. And so, yeah, I think that's a good, unfoldment to finish out because, like I said, it is significant. It's a turning point. This is the penultimate card in the tarot as well, because after this, 20 is the world, so this is really where it's turning and where we find ourselves awaiting results, but we're not going to have to wait too long to start really seeing evidence of what the storm has dragged in.
Exactly. Well, I think that's a good message to end with. All right. So I know the time is against us. So as we are in that special week, unfoldment, last week of November also, then please, Marissa, share what are the special offers for this week, especially.
Well, good timing for us to be meeting now because, of course, we'll kick off the season of giving and we have, whether it's Black Friday or just kind of getting into opportunities, we're going to have some Black Friday specials over here. But I have my biggest reading of the year, the 2026 year ahead spread, is available now for booking. And I will have an offer now for the Black Friday weekend into Cyber Monday or whatever they call it these days, but just kind of celebrating that reading and opportunity for some insight and guidance, empowerment into the new year. 26 card spread. It's a massive reading. So I'll have a link all about that, as well as a gift certificate giveaway for any of my sessions that are booked until December 12th. Till 12/12, we'll go into a drawing for a gift certificate that I'll be giving away for an empowerment session of your choice. And of course, new month, new empowerment pack. So December empowerment packs too. So I'll just have a link here for all of those goodies, but each one of those things, as well as gift certificates. Gift certificates are available as well, and all go into that giveaway. So
Yeah.
that's a condensed version. How
Yeah,
about you?
towards Christmas, people are looking for gifts to give, right? And what to give to someone who has everything? Well, give a reading.
Yeah, give the gift of empowerment. I say it's the gift that keeps on giving all year. So
Exactly. Well, I also have the Black Friday sale going at the moment, already started before we even recorded this, started on the magical 11/22/33 day. And yeah, it will be also ongoing until December 1st. This will be very likely the final sale I'm going to be running this year. So yeah, if anybody wants to connect to get any kind of guidance with regards to what's going on now or the upcoming transits, years, solar returns, whatever, then this is probably the best time to book. And obviously, you can book the reading whenever. You can also gift it to someone. So yeah, it's also all available on my website. We'll put the links for everything in the description. And yeah, thanks to everyone for following us, watching us throughout the year. And we wish everybody, I mean, it's crazy to say because still November, like, wish everybody great
oh,
holidays 1 month from now, right?
here.
Happy New Year.
Well, maybe we'll have have a pop-up mid-December. We'll see where it takes us,
Oh
but we
yeah,
will
my internet is stable now, so we can have an IG live. Yeah, that's
yeah.
a good point. Yeah.
Yeah, so we might see you on Instagram. We'll pop in there, but otherwise, closing out 2025 and see you in 2026.
Well, yeah, very likely you still record the January one in 2025. So see you
Yeah.
at the other side of December. But
Yep.
anyway, thank you, Marissa. It's always a pleasure. Beautiful to co-create together. And once again, thank you, everyone. And yeah, we'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.